It streaks toward the target, striking it in seconds. Fire and fuel spill out of the plane's wing. The aircraft loses hydraulics, but the crew's able to land safely. The instrument of this attack on a DHL cargo jet near Baghdad in November of 2003, a portable surface-to-air missile. A year earlier, the only known incident where Al-Qaeda fired one of those missiles at a passenger jet. 2 missiles fired at an Israeli plane full of civilians near Mombasa, Kenya, missed their target. Now, a discovery that will stir more concern among U.S. officials. The Associated Press reports it's recovered a how-to manual for the use of portable surface-to-air missiles inside a building formerly occupied by the group Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb in the African nation of Mali.
For them, commercial aviation is kind of the most important target because of its big media effects, large effects on the global economy, business travel.
CNN national security analyst Peter Bergen points out the discovery of that manual doesn't prove that branch of Al-Qaeda actually has many of those missiles. But he says for years the group has been obsessively looking for them. This Al-Qaeda video, obtained by CNN 12 years ago, provided militants with step-by-step instructions on how to use a U.S.-made surface-to-air missile. This will give you a visual of why Western officials are so concerned about this threat. At so many airports, like here at Reagan National, planes take off and land very close to areas where surface-to-air missiles can be fired. I'm with Peter Pham of the Atlantic Council. He was an advisor to U.S. Special Forces in Africa. Peter, how easy is it for terrorists to launch those missiles?
Well, they're not high-tech weapons. They're weapons developed by the Soviets in the early 1960s. They weigh about 30 pounds. A single individual, they're about the size of a large poster tube. Someone can put it on their shoulder and launch it. Now, it takes a bit of training.
Another tactical advantage for terrorists? While military planes are equipped with countermeasures for these heat-seeking missiles, commercial planes are not.
If you bring down a commercial jet with a surface-to-air missile, you basically have to retrofit all these commercial jets with countermeasures. And the reason that hasn't happened right now is that it's expensive to do.
So if Al-Qaeda's got a significant stock of portable surface-to-air missiles, where did they get them? Well, most likely from Libya, during or right after the civil war there. Peter Pham says Muammar Gaddafi is estimated to have had about 20,000 of these weapons, but he says when Western security forces went in and tried to recover them, they only got about 5,000. But experts say Gaddafi's stocks were in fairly poor shape, Jake, so that is one thing we have going for us.
Brian, a few years ago when I flew to Iraq, when we flew down and touched down in the Baghdad airport, it was a corkscrew landing because pilots, and these are commercial flights, were so afraid of surface-to-air missiles, they didn't want to get out above anywhere other than just the airport.
That's exactly right. You have to do that. You had to do that in Baghdad. And French forces, in fact, in Mali have had to resort to those tactics of the corkscrew-type landings. And to attack rebels on the ground, the French have had to go to high-altitude aircraft to target rebels rather than attack helicopters because these missiles have been such a threat to the attack helicopters. And these high-altitude planes are not as effective as attack helicopters in attacking these rebels on the ground. So it's kind of taken away from the French capabilities there.